I have never watched any college football. I've never watched the draft in its entirety before. So let's hear my thoughts on this process. I'm sure they'll be very valuable. The consensus seems to be that the Bills need a wide receiver. This is a good consensus. This is an objectively true thing. Yeah, I like who we have in our wide receiver room. God knows I love Khalil Shakir. I will be wearing his jersey tonight for the draft to see if he ends up wide receiver one or not. It depends on what ends up happening in this first round of the draft. I haven't watched all the, I don't know how people even follow college football because there's so many games. It's so confusing to me. So basically my knowledge is based on what everybody else is saying. So here's my take on what everybody else is saying. The first couple quarterbacks, I mean, the first few picks are all going to be either quarterbacks or Marvin Harrison Jr. That seems to be the consensus. I don't think we need to worry about that. I don't think that Brandon Beane is going to trade up to the 4th pick to get Harrison. Like that would be insane. We don't need a wide receiver quite that badly. There are a few different scenarios. So scenario is we trade up high to try and get Rome Odunze. The most likely spot for that seems to be trading with the Bears at pick number 9. And that seems possible. Is it what we want to do? Do we want to give up next year's first round pick? I'm not totally opposed to that because next year we're going to have a big fat hole in our cap from where Diggs would have been. So, for all the talk about trading for Ayuk or Jefferson or T. Higgins or all these things that are completely fiscally impossible, they're not fiscally impossible. They're fiscally imprudent, let's say, or possibly impossible. But I think doing that next year makes way more sense. The wide receiver pool this year in the draft is pretty awesome. Like there are people, the Bills were doing visits with guys who probably aren't going to go until like the 6th round and they're still good players. It's not just a whole bunch of dross when you get down that far. So if we give up next year's first round pick, we'll have the money to try and get some amazing player that we otherwise would have tried to get in the draft in the first round pick, which hopefully our first round pick next year won't be that good anyway. We'll see. So if Beane wants to concoct some trade with the Bears, if Odunze falls to 9, I don't think we could get any higher than that. But again, this is me basing this shit on what other people are saying and what I type into my little free mock draft simulator because I'm not paying for PFF. They give me 1 round a day. Thanks. Yes, I know businesses on the internet need to make money. Just not my money. The other wide receiver option, as far as trying to trade up, possibility of BTJ. Where he's going to fall, I just don't know. I don't think anybody really has a good sense of that. The issue is, for me, there are a whole bunch of players in this early part of the first round that I just have not paid any attention to. My understanding is there's someone named Brock Bowers. There's someone named Joe Alt. We're not going to take any of those people, so I really don't know. There's also teams from the NFC, and I don't really know who they need. I know the Dolphins are probably going to want to take a center, and I know the Chiefs are going to want to take a wide receiver. So that's another thing that we have to keep in consideration, is unless the Chiefs trade up to jump in front of us, they're going to take whoever we don't take as far as wide receivers in the first round. So not just who do we want, who do we not want the Chiefs to have? So I'm sure that's in the mix too. So it's a question of waiting to see where things fall. Do we see BTJ falling to like 18, 19? Do we see him still being there at 28? If we don't want him that badly, do we feel comfortable sitting at 28 and seeing who's there at that point? So the guy that everybody seems to love, and I kind of love, is Xavier Legette. There's also a lot of talk about Xavier Worthy, who's like the teeny tiny fast guy, and Legette's like the big bulky guy. They'd both be great fits for the team. The interesting thing is that I don't seem to have any idea where Legette is actually, I don't even know if I said his name right the first time. I'm going to get this wrong. Maybe we shouldn't draft him because I'm going to keep calling him the wrong thing. I think it's Legette. Do we take him at 28 or do we hope he's still there at 60? I hear that the Panthers have told Legette that they'll take him at 39 or wherever they're sitting. Fucking Panthers, man. I don't want the guy to end up there. I know he's from around there, so that's kind of nice, but like, good luck with that. The other option is we could trade back. If we think we can trade back a little bit and get Legette or Worthy in the early second round and also get like a third round pick from somebody, that sets us up nicely. The other possibility, which I increasingly think is a strong possibility, so we take something completely different from wide receiver. And that's just a question of where the board falls and how trading goes behind the scenes. So if Beane can't pull off any trade and you get to 28 and say Cooper DeJean is there, I don't think he's going to be the one white cornerback in the league. I think we'd put him at safety.
They don't even let white guys try to play quarterback anymore. Like they just said, you're done.
If he's at 28, do we take him at 28 and see who's still sitting there at 60 for wide receiver? Or is there some way that we're going to take that 60 and turn it into something earlier in the second round? That's possible. Again, this is not, I don't know what Brandon Beane does. I don't know what he does. What would I prefer? The idea of ending up with DeJean in the first round is actually really entertaining to me. Because we need him. Like, it's not like it's just to be contrary. We need a safety. But oh man. Oh, it'd be so funny. You know all those clips of people like grumpy that Josh Allen got drafted when Josh Allen got drafted? Just fucking imagine. Bills fans across Western New York and the rest of the world, we're everywhere, breaking their televisions with their Labatt Blue bottles. I don't know. For me, I think that would be the most entertaining thing for me to see on my TV tonight. That or some big fancy trade would also be entertaining. We've got those 2 second-round picks next year. One of them is the Minnesota one, which everybody seems to think is going to be a really good pick. I don't know what we can do with that, if we can do that to move up for BTJ, but I don't know if I want BTJ enough for that. I definitely don't want Mitchell. He sounds like not the attitude that I want on the team. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he doesn't take care of his health. And there's so much about trying to get the chemistry right in this locker room this year that I think I get the sense that Legette would be a really good match for this team. Then there's all the stuff that goes on the rest of the weekend. I will be watching that too. I will make reaction videos about that too, probably. But that's too much. That's like 250 players. I can't. I did one mock draft where I drafted everyone named Xavier, everybody named Javon, and then Sam Hartman.
I'm watching
That's
it all.
Excellent.
Because why not?
Dan Smith, BYU.
Anyway, I will have some reaction videos to the draft itself up in the next couple days. In the meantime, for my Chiefs fans watching this, I hope you end up with Keon Coleman. Go Bills!
Let's go.